everybody, and welcome back to my video and my channel for this Tuesday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. And today I'm going to be talking about celebrity representation and autism, the latest celebrity autism diagnoses that have been put out in the public media that I have managed to find and attach pictures of in this video that I'm going to attach this video. So there is in total, I think, 10 or 11 different celebrities that I've managed to find in the last little while that have came out publicly as autistic in the press that I managed to get some legit articles for. And as a autistic female myself, I thought it was important to talk about this and say how good it is that a lot more public figures are coming out as autistic and representing the autistic and neurodivergent and disabled communities. I think it's great that we're having more representation out in public. I think it's great that these celebrities are being brave enough and strong enough to talk about their autism diagnosis in public. I think it can be quite overwhelming, quite overstimulating, quite anxiety-provoking to put your public life out there, and especially your medical private life. It can be really overwhelming and scary because you don't know the reaction or how people are going to process it or think about it or understand it or explain it to people. And as an autistic person myself who's gone through that issue of explaining it, assessing it, putting my life onto social media, onto YouTube, onto Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter. I don't really use X anymore, I don't really like it, but yeah, I am a public profile person. I am someone that puts her autistic journey on the internet and on my local radio, BBC radio station, and I think that we need to do more representation with regards to autism. I think it's really brave, and it's about time that in 2025 we are brave enough to discuss autism and neurodiversity issues. I think it's really important that we are able to have that open and genuine, authentic discussion around autism and mental health and late autism diagnoses. I think there's a lot of people that are still struggling to talk about their diagnoses publicly, and that's totally okay. And there is many self-identified people who haven't come out public as autistic or have chosen not to come out as autistic publicly due to the backlash or the fear that they're scared or they're not sure how they're going to be accepted or, you know, welcomed into the community. So I think that is something to bear in mind when talking about autism publicly in the media as a public facing person. But for me, I love talking about my autism. I think it's really good that we've been open and brave enough to discuss it. I think the more celebrities that come out as autistic and actually talk about it in a positive way, like many of these celebrities that I've attached pictures of have come out publicly and said how great their autism is, how autism has made them understand themselves, accept themselves, and how they use it to help them work and progress in life. I think it's great because it implies the message that anyone with autism can do anything. They can work within communications, within media, within film, within music, within theatre. You know, I think it's really great that we have a lot of people who are publicly coming out in the press and saying that they're autistic or suspected of being autistic. I think it's opening up that autism discussion even more to help the public better understand what autism and the spectrum actually is and how to best communicate with us and how to understand neurodiversity at its most simplest form. I think also it is opening up the less stigmas and the less taboo around autism, because autism is still very misunderstood. You know, it's been in the local media, in the press since the 1940s, and I think a lot of people are just choosing to believe the negative. But I think now there is more and more celebrities coming out with their autism stories and autism diagnoses. I think it's really going to help the discussion and to have that open table discussion. I love being autistic. I'm proud of being autistic. I love what I do. I love my work. I love my YouTube work. I love my talks I do in the local community. I'm very passionate about my autism. I love explaining it and talking to people about it. Again, it is something that is still widely misinterpreted and misunderstood and labelled and judged as being a spoiled brat or being naughty or being demanding or being rude or being cold, being blunt, being disrespectful, which it actually isn't. It's due to how our brains think and process around the world and process in our local environments. There's a lot of us who have sensory issues. There's a lot of us who have auditory processing issues. We have a lot of issues to do with food, bright lights, noises, textures, fabrics, etc. We struggle to fit in a world that doesn't want us to be around, or struggles to fit in a world that doesn't understand what autism is or how to accept us or promote us or understand how we communicate and why we communicate in a different way. I think autism is still very, very judged. I think that's down to fear and misinformation, and I think it's down to a lot of people who say autism is a disease or that it's an epidemic or things like that, which it isn't. I'm not saying that autism is any of them things, I'm not. But I think it's great that we've got so much more people now coming out in the press to actually defend themselves and say, hey, you know, I am actually autistic, this is what it means, this is how I work, this is how I tick and everything. And I think it's great that we've got at least 10, 11 that I've mentioned in this video. In the pictures you'll see who they are. I will link all the articles that I've managed to find in the video description down below, so you can read on for your own further information and your own further research. Everything that I've linked is genuine newspapers or social media website blogs that belong to the actual person or have been done on their behalf, so everything is legit, and everything I've researched has been written recent within the last 2 to 4 years, so pretty recent that I can get my hands on. And I just want to talk about this topic. I think it's representation is something that needs to still be improved and still needs to be better researched and thought through. But again, there has been many people coming out as autistic or neurodivergent or suspect themselves of being neurodivergent in the last 3 to 4 years, which I think is a fantastic awareness raising effort. And I think we're getting a lot better on the discussion of autism and neurodiversity, but it's still nowhere near enough where it should be for now. This time of year, especially in 2025, we are still far behind with accepting people who are neurodiverse or identify as being neurodiverse or autistic or ADHD and autistic or OCD, any form of them kind of conditions. And yeah, I just want to talk about this because I'm very passionate about it. I'm very excited about where neurodiversity and the autism spectrum is going, and the amount of people who are coming out in the press as autistic is really helping to lessen the stigma, lessen the taboo, lessen the mean negative comments and negative connotations behind neurodiversity and autism. So I hope that, you know, you help to understand what autism is better. I have done many videos on what autism is on my channel, and I would really appreciate your views and your comments down in the comment section down below. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.